It's the second Monday of the second quarter of the year, and it's time for Faith Capsules, powered by the Shaper's Ark. I am Onola Adetayo, the Shaper. Today's scripture is taken from Psalm 107, verses 33 and 34. He turns rivers into a desert, flowing springs into thirsty ground, and fruitful land into a salt waste because of the wickedness of those who live there. Today's scripture details several consequences of disregard for or violation of God's commandments. Let's examine 3 of these dangerous consequences. Number 1, God can dry up their source. When King Saul began to disobey God and started planning the death of David, who did nothing but good to Saul, God decided to dry up the source of Saul's authority and took away his sanity. Adam and Eve also lost their freedom in the Garden of Eden because they disobeyed God's commandments. My friend, it's a dangerous thing to flout the commandments of God. Second, God can cause the wind to blow off all that these people have gathered. In Joshua 7, verses 21 to 26, Achan covetously stole robes, silver, and gold, contrary to God's instruction. All the wealth that Achan had gathered and hid were burned in one day, and he was stoned to death, never having access to all that he had stolen. Hosea chapter 13, verses 15 to 16. Even though he thrives among his brothers, an east wind from the Lord will come, blowing in from the desert. His spring will fail, and his well dry up. His storehouse will be plundered of all its treasures. Third consequence, God can curse their storehouses to be plundered. Korah was proud and rebellious toward God's anointed and appointed servants in Numbers 16, verses 11 to 13. The result of their behavior was that the earth opened its mouth and swallowed Korah, his gang, and their family members with every of their possessions in Numbers 16, 31 to 33. My friends, wickedness is simply a blatant disregard for righteousness. Violating God's commandments attracts severe consequences, either through the envy and disobedience like Saul, or lying, stealing, and covetousness like Achan, or arrogance and rebellion against constituted authority like Korah. To any of you who might be indulging in this sin, God has a message for you in Ezekiel 33:11. Say unto them, as surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but rather that they turn from their ways and live. Turn from your evil ways. Why will you die, people of Israel? Ezekiel 18:21. But if the wicked will turn from all his sins that he had committed, and keep all my statutes, and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live and shall not die. Till I come your way again next week, this is Onola Adetayo, the Shaper, urging you to call upon God if you are caught in this trap, and he will save you. Shalom.